Good morning, folks. The real Captain Kirk here, live from Weather Trends 360 studio in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I thought today we'd talk about Hurricane Lane, Cat 5, only the second one south of the Hawaiian Islands. So, as a kid growing up in Hawaii, I thought we'd talk about it a little bit today. Again, grew up here in Kaneohe, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu, and again, we'll talk about how Hurricane Lane, again, currently at Cat 5, is going to go just south of the Hawaiian Islands. But we'll talk about how this still has a big impact on the islands, even though there may not be a direct landfall hit per se. Again, we grew up here on the windward side of the islands, very lush, tropical, 100 to 200 inches of rain a year, very common. On the leeward side of the islands, trade winds are this way typically. On the leeward side, Honolulu, Waikiki, it's very dry. They may only get 20 inches a year, so you can have 20 inches on this side and 200 inches on this side. So the problem with Lane coming up this way is that you're hitting obviously the major population centers of Honolulu, Waikiki Beach, the touristy areas, Pearl Harbor. Bringing in a storm surge with Hurricane Lane, we'll talk about in a minute, is hugely problematic for this side of the island where all the population lives. Again, very lush and tropical. You can see again the more urban area of the dry leeward side, again about 20 inches, but in these Ko'olau Mountains where we grew up, again we'll zoom in here to actually the amazing with Google Earth now you can actually see where we grew up right there. At the base of these Ko'olau Mountains, which are 2,000 to 3,000 feet, so we get 200 inches of rain a year, mostly in the wintertime. So the island on this side can handle a lot of rain. That's not the issue. The urban leeward side of the island, Honolulu, cannot. Again, they only get about 20 inches. So having a hurricane threaten them is a pretty big impact. Again, obviously a tropical paradise. So we're worried about the folks here in Hawaii today, and that's the reason for the video. The track currently, Hurricane Lane, is about 480 miles southeast of Honolulu. So Honolulu's up here. Hurricane Lane is spinning down here south of the Big Island. As a Cat 5, it's only the second Cat 5 to go within a few hundred miles of the Hawaiian Islands, since John in 1994. So pretty rare to have a hurricane of this magnitude come this close to the Hawaiian Islands. Again, we can see by Friday, it's south of Oahu. It'll probably come within about 70 miles of Hawaii. Now that sounds like it might be pretty far away because the hurricane force winds are about 40 miles from the center. And the tropical storm force winds are about 150 miles. So they'll definitely have tropical storm to near hurricane Cat 1 level winds in probably Hawaii, Molokai, for sure Kauai. I remember Hurricane Eva as a kid in 1982 hitting the islands, and it went over this way over Kauai, and it was about 100 miles away from Oahu. So we had a huge impact, a lot of devastation, even with a storm that was 100 miles away, and this is much, much stronger than Hurricane Eva was. So again, folks should not get too hung up on the fact that the track is south of these islands, because it's still pretty close. And you're on the right side of the hurricane, so the tidal surge and the waves are all coming this way, the movement with the wind. So this is always say the right front quadrant of a hurricane is the most devastating, and that puts all the Hawaiian Islands pretty much in this right front quadrant, and it gets closer to Oahu and Kauai. So again, very concerned for the folks in Hawaii. If we look at the satellite here this morning, you can see that it did bomb out last night. It definitely got down to a Cat 5, 161 mile an hour winds, gusts to almost 200 miles an hour. Fortunately, it's going to get a wind shear. There's a lot of wind shear in the Hawaiian Islands, very typical. That's why you don't even get a lot of thunderstorms in Hawaii, because the wind shear actually prohibits big thunderstorms. So the wind shear, fortunately, will help shear the hurricane a bit to weaken it. So by the time it gets to the Hawaiian Islands, it'll be a Cat 2, Cat 1, again, south of the islands. We can see the waves here of 10 feet on top of a surge. So again, Waikiki Beach just doesn't typically get 10-foot waves on top of a 2, 3, 4, 5-foot surge. So again, you're talking definitely flooding along the coastal areas of Waikiki. And again, if you've ever been there, there's restaurants literally on the beach, beach level. So again, it's certainly going to be an impact. Rainfall here over the next 2 weeks. We can see the storm kind of then veers out into the Pacific and dies. So again, very concerned here. Thursday night, Friday night is the time to be concerned in the Hawaiian Islands. You can see the radar bands are already moving here. That's the outer bands of Hurricane Lane. So again, God bless the folks in Hawaii. We'll keep you updated. Have a great Wednesday.